Yeah, I decided not to stream to TikTok. It never works. Nobody watches it, so.
I think most people just catch us the day after.
TikTok's about 10 or 15 second videos. And
I know when I wasn't on the show, it was always the next day on the ride into work. So I understand.
that's okay. This all get cut by David, so. All right. 3, 2. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is the podcast for the iRacer, where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Greg Hectus.
Finally, we got all 3 streaming platforms working tonight. What's up, everybody?
It's a Moza kind of week. Brad Wren.
Hey, everyone. How are you?
All right, and William Westbrook.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry if I'm a bit raspy. The pollinating has started.
It is spring. On today's show, we get you caught up on the 2025 Season 2 Patch 1. See what iRacing needs to add to dirt racing, what sim racing traps to avoid, show you how to get that perfect position in your sim rig, find out what I'm spending my money on, and did a sim to reality driver just win his first NASCAR Cup race?
That's right, Mike. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all of the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
All right, the top of the list is the NASCAR refresh. We got a video this week from iRacing highlighting that we got this build. I mean, have you guys noticed?
Yeah, Homestead looks better. I haven't been on any of the other tracks, but yeah, Homestead does look. I don't know if it really looks better or not. We don't run it but once a year.
I was shocked at Talladega. Double yellow line on the bottom.
Yeah, that's true. We've always had a single yellow line, haven't we?
Oh,
it's
I didn't
huge
notice that.
difference.
Interesting.
I'll be interested to try Dover. Dover is always a nice track that's going to have, good effects. I don't know how much I can... I still race without the crowd on, so I don't know if... Does the crowd any better in any of these? Anyone that runs the crowd?
They're still cardboard cutouts, pretty much.
No, they're not. They're 3-dimensional characters.
Oh, I guess they are. Yeah,
I run with the crowds on, so someone's got to be over there, waving when I'm finishing the 20th.
They're just kind of swaying back and forth,
I'm still stuck in 2020.
I did think it was interesting. I saw, and I don't think we got it in the script, but there was a post on X from iRacing about the NASCAR refresh, and it said that you can look forward to seeing all of these in NASCAR 25.
Which means we're going to have them all here by the end of the year, probably.
I would assume that we should hopefully. I mean, I guess my timeline was thinking we would get them after the release, but it looks like we're probably going to get them ahead of the release.
Well, how many tracks was it? Was it 4?
Bristol, Homestead, Dover.
It was like 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Iowa didn't make it, did it?
So if NASCAR has, if they release 5 or 6 or 4 to 5, 6 at a time, they'll get them all covered by the end of the year on the updates.
Well, I don't know. Think if you count how many releases are left.
But I don't think the road courses will be the ones that wouldn't be. I don't know. But if it said they're getting all the refresh, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
It is, to Brad's point, we're getting them before the game's even released, so that's good. So, it sounds like they're working out, they're, creating the track in iRacing and able to somehow export their work into the other game. I'm curious what's going to happen with Mexico City, though.
Well, they plan to scan it. We know that we're obviously not getting it before the actual race because they've got in the schedule, they've got the Daytona Road Course.
Now, I mean, Dale Jr. talked on his podcast about going to this event, and he's taking his family. So he never talked about them. I know we've heard rumblings that they might not go to it at all, but it sounds like they might still be going.
Yeah, the NASCAR, I think, denied those rumors when they started that they would still indeed be going to Mexico City. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's move on to one of my favorite things about racing, and that's statistics.
All right.
Brad, what do we got?
Yeah, we got a video from what is this Nick Neben. So this is looking at a new stats website. This is irstats.net, and pretty neat stuff. I pulled this up and laying on the homepage, once you put your name in, I got a little confused because by default, I started putting in my iRacing members ID because like almost every stat site that we have, you have to use your member ID. Put your name in.
I just did that.
I did it like 3 times. I'm like, what's wrong? It's broken. I was like, well, let me try my name. And son of a gun, yep, pulled it right up by my name. But yeah, pretty neat. Like, got a little landing page here, and it tells you all of my race stats. 785 races, how many podiums. But then you can start breaking everything down by series. Pretty cool. It tells you how long you've been a member, what club you're in. 14 years here. So, but yeah, pretty neat. I mean, how many? It's got kilometers here, so obviously it's confused on where I live.
No, you're using that Canadian software.
Look, I like the section at the bottom here, Brad, where in the gold box where it shows your win count. Well, it's podium count. They show gold, silver, bronze. And then they show the series as well, and how many of those you won in that particular series. And this is the first time I've seen a win count that adds in non-official racing. I see the NASCAR Carb Cup, Pickup Cup, Dallara Dash are part of this. Those are non-official. I've never seen a total win count with official and unofficial, but this has it. So my win count, guys, 256. My official win account is 105 and official.
I think it's cool too because it even has your the big endurance races like Daytona 24 hours. I got a second place in the 24 hours of Daytona.
Yeah, it's really cool. It told me I'd raced 33 different series, which I found hard to believe. I didn't think I'd branched out to all that much. And my favorite part is actually if you go down to the cars on the left side, it'll give you stats by car. I need to stay away from the AMG T4 apparently, and there's
how many cars have you guys driven? I've done 53.
149 tracks driven,
nice.
62 cars.
53 cars, 105 tracks, 60 series.
133 series driven.
What's the distance driven? Is that average distance driven?
Overall, 729,000 kilometers.
I have 227,000 kilometers. Is that like 6 miles or something like that?
Brad, hover over the info thing and it'll give you miles.
Yep, there we go. 74.1 thousand miles.
So some of my numbers that I'm proud of is out of 5,573 races, 10,000 laps led. And then this other number, race time, 3,671 hours.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
We had a conversation the other day about something I'm not going to talk about on here, but we can't show that number.
Oh, no, we got to talk about it on here.
No.
She doesn't listen. What difference does it make?
No. We don't need to know the amount of race hours I've put in. Actually, now take that and divide it by my 15 years and see what that is per day.
I can't imagine what mine would be if I wasn't gone for 7 years.
Look, I mean, whoever put up this website or maintains it and pays the hosting, and kudos. And I'm sorry, shame on iRacing for not having this built in. I mean, there's more information on this page than I've ever seen iRacing present us.
How can they grab this information and iRacing can't?
Well, that's my point. This is so low-hanging fruit. You could take a couple developers, tell them to tackle this, and they'd be done in a week. I mean, I don't understand why we don't have good stats. It's just silly. Welcome, Kyle Pendergraft, for joining.
How's it going, everybody?
What's up, Kyle?
All right, I kind of went south on the stat, but what else do you guys have on that? That's pretty cool. I definitely am bookmarking that one. irstats.net.
Well, to go back on the whole thing about iRacing not having it, you know how many people would geek out over this kind of information at their fingertips?
Well, that's kind of my point. I really like statistics. I mean, when you race, it's all about how well can you finish and how does it, how many points can you get? All these kind of things, right?
Exactly.
Okay, William, how about the 2025 Season 2 Patch 1?
Right, so I think we've talked about a majority of this already. But just a recap of it. The patch notes were released by Alex. The main highlights are going to be the new ARCA car and the GTP tire. I don't want to say refresh, the fix from the mistake from the last season. Have you guys tried the ARCA car? I haven't gotten to yet, but I've heard really good things.
It's a blast.
Nah, I haven't tried it yet.
It's all about saving tires, isn't it, Kyle?
For the most part, yeah.
All right, couple other things with the patch notes. The lighting refresh was in there. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I got a chance to really get acquainted with it at Sebring. If you guys haven't ran Sebring at Sunset yet, I'd recommend giving it a try.
It's always the best at Sunset.
Yep.
Sebring's the best track for that.
Yeah, and then the NASCAR track refreshes that we've already talked about. And that's really it for this patch. Kind of a light, even though the main things were big, kind of a light notes.
So one of the things on the update, supposedly on the graphics, they fixed a critical issue where dynamic track debris was completely invisible. I still have yet to see any debris on the track. I see multiple debris flags. So like turning laps, William, at Sebring, I'm getting debris flags, but I don't see anything on the track anymore.
Yeah, so I don't either. And also, I thought it was just me, but also if you look in the rear view after like at the hairpin at Sebring, you always cut that. You would generally have a cloud of dust behind you. That's gone on my screen as well.
Yep.
So for me, I could see the debris, but the most recent release broke it. I would get the red and yellow flag. I couldn't see anything. But since this patch, I can see it again. So for me, I could see it, and then I couldn't, and then the patch fixed it.
That just, I mean, I don't know. Sebring is notorious for stuff on the track, especially, coming out of Le Mans when you go down Ullman Straight. And like you said, out at the hairpin, but I haven't seen any debris on the track since the Season 2 update at all.
So one more I want to point out is under the NASCAR Cup Series Mustang. It says fixed a critical issue with fields in the garage screen overlapping, making them unusable. I saw somebody on Facebook put up a screenshot this week of this, and it's like the words are on top of words. So you see an English word.
Retaining well, and additional crowds have arrived, and buildings and bleachers. Additional visitor vehicles also have arrived, and some fences have been mended.
Yeah.
Clean up.
It's a clever way of writing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when they, what are we, 2 patches after a new track, and what, Barney finally arrives or whatever. Or Fred, whichever one. Was it Barney's the pace car, Fred the flagger?
Barney's the flagger, Fred's the pace car.
Okay, got it backwards.
Okay, so let's move on. Kyle, what does dirt need?
Oh, I don't have the show notes pulled up right now.
Oh, okay. Then who wants
What
the
are
dirt
5
one?
things that
So looking at this, some of the things that he covers is the cushion model, why it needs an overhaul. I guess still needs some updated dirt cars. I'm not a dirt guy, so understanding what Longhorn, Rocket, and Maxim is, I have no idea. Better hosted session options could change league racing. So I'm guessing, I know we have heat features and stuff, but I guess maybe there's some limitations to that. The water truck feature, I can tell you after working some years ago, helping a buddy out run his go-kart track, which was dirt, how important the water truck was. So, when you're running for 7 or 8 hours and having to get out and run the water truck, completely changed the way that the track was. And then also dirty air and how adding it would transform the racing on the sim. So again, I am not a dirt guy. And I don't know really anybody in here who spends a whole lot of time in dirt.
Tommy Brandon is the channel. This guy is famous on YouTube in the sim racing community for giving really good graphic settings for your iRacing graphics and your FOV and stuff like that. Anyway, he is a dirt guy, and he pointed out that this release had zilch for the dirt folks, the dirt oval folks. They didn't have anything, in the release for them. And so that's what the point of the video was, is what would he work on if he was Greg Hill? What would he have his team work on? And these are the 5 things he picked. Now, the one he talked about with the water truck, that really, stuck with me. Like, Brad, they run the dirt off initially, and it looks like pavement almost. It's real dark, and maybe the cushion is built up, and then you run a water truck over that. It doesn't put the dirt back where it was. It just waters down wherever the dirt got moved. So it's quite different than iRacing's, how they refresh the track, so to speak, as you go from session to session.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you're trying to run a dirt track, I mean, you've got to prep it. You got to, again, it's water. I mean, I can remember helping. He get out and run the water truck. Then you got to get out there and then he had a truck with slicks on it. Then he would get out and then would run that in, to try to prep the track. So you run the water truck out there, get some moisture in it. Then he would get out in the track truck, and then you're trying to, you're working in the dirt there too. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. But yeah, I mean, there was nothing this update. I mean, what was it a couple ago where we got Millbridge, the micro sprint and stuff? But I don't know. I mean, we went a couple patches where really the oval guys didn't get anything either.
True. Should iRacing have, dedicated, okay, every release we're going to try to give, this genre of racing something. What about the road dirt guys? What about, that thing?
Well, they got 4 seasons. Could they split each discipline up for each season?
You gotta understand pavement road is their bread and their butter. That's why I think that's where most people are running. So they gotta focus on that, I think.
I
don't know.
Did they intend, I'm just wondering, like dirt's a huge portion of, obviously, the lower ranks of making your way up into the series in the real life. How can we model what dirt does properly ever, right? Like, we don't, dirt is unpredictable. It's like, it's just the same thing as probably rain. You can't make the rain completely perfect either, right?
Well, I think they do model it, but it's just a matter of, can they do it better,
Well, it's constant. I mean, it's constant changing. No dirt track is the same every week. I mean, it's different. It's not like asphalt where, yeah, there's some difference in asphalt, but it's asphalt. That doesn't change. But when it comes to dirt, the surface changes. You've got grooves, you got ruts, you got the temperature, you got the moisture level, and you got all that.
All right, moving on. I'll take this quick hit. iRacing put up on X about the Formula 2 series, which ran in Australia this week. The average iRating of the entire F2 grid this year is over 5,000. Now think about that. Every driver in the grid, add up their iRating, average it, and it's above 5,000.
So are they saying everyone in that field has an iRacing account then? Like
Well,
figuring
maybe
out
there's
who
one that
also-
doesn't, but that would bring down the average, right? Quite a bit. If it was a 0, somebody had a 0.
Just in general, that's crazy to think.
It is. I think it also points out that if you're in real racing, you should be in iRacing.
So I could, I guess, go get the results from that race, and I could go back to the website we looked at, irstats.net, and I should be able to put their names in there, and I can see what it is.
Should be.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably the most site you could probably get it from. You won't get it from the iRacing site very easily.
Touche.
You know, I've seen on the forums, most people don't even know where to type in a name in the UI. You have to go down to the little friend grid and open that up, and then there's a search in there.
That's where I found all the teammates on our team that I have never friended, and they're always complaining that I wasn't their friends.
That's right. We figured it didn't show up in Canada. But look, in the UI, in the old website, what was all the stuff that you could do there, Mike? You could see your friends, you could send messages, you could do all kinds of things in the old website.
Yeah. The right click the name and all this stuff. Yep. All right. William, how about some new lighting changes you kind of mentioned?
Yep. So I kind of got this started a little bit earlier, but the new lighting refresh obviously is out, and we have a bunch of Twitter and Instagram and all that posts. You know, people comparing it. iRacing even put out an official thing with some screenshots showing it off. I'll get to Dan Suzuki's thing in just a minute, but like I said earlier, if you really want to test it, go drive Sebring at sunset. When you're going into the hairpin, you can't see your braking point until you go under the bridge, and then you have just enough time to grab it while you're in the shade, and then it's back into full sun, and then obviously sunset's the same way. It's really nice. I'm very happy with it. However, if we get to Dan Suzuki's post down here, apparently if you run with HDR off, you just don't see this sun glare. And he asks, should iRacing force HDR to be on? I find that hard to believe because, some people's machines just can't handle it. I mean, it's just a fact of life. But, I mean, again, it's not really... They have a huge advantage if they're not having to fight the sun like the rest of the grid.
So I brought this up in the chat years ago when they released the new smoke model. Mike, you can remember, the smoke was controlled by your settings, your level of detail. So you could basically turn off smoke, and that was the biggest complaint is you're in an accident, you could turn off the smoke, and then you can see where you're going.
So should they, if that's the case, that they're forcing people on HDR, should they not, I said this in the chat too, any of the Formula cars that have a halo, you can't make it transparent? Or the transparent on the IndyCar?
I think that's a different issue, and I don't have a problem with the halo being transparent. But to Dan Suzuki's point, you see these two screenshots side by side. The guy who has the HDR off has a clear advantage because he's not blinded.
So, can't you turn down the effects of rain as well on the rain settings, or no?
You can reduce it. Actually, I think that's a hindrance because you can't see the puddling, and you need to be able to see the puddling on the rain side. So I think
it helps with spray, though, doesn't it?
That's a good question.
I don't think you can turn off the spray.
Okay.
I know
curious.
I know with the whatever it is, the SAO, whatever the setting is, that I run it on high just for rain only because I want to see the puddles. Because otherwise, you don't get to see the puddles, and the puddles is where you have the biggest issues.
See, I've never come into these issues because I usually run my settings on as much as I can maximally get out of it without hindering my machine capability, which is actually, I can pretty much have everything on that I need to.
Look, the minimum specs to run iRacing creeps. And I think that the answer is yes, we should force everyone to have it on. And if your stuff isn't good enough, then upgrade. But the advantage is clear. I think what happened? What was the resolution with the smoke deal? They forced it on everybody, right?
Yeah, Yeah, they forced it on everybody. I think they finally got it figured out to where it wasn't as taxing. I mean, it used to be literally if I mean, I can remember, Mike, if you remember the first time when they started doing like the fireworks, like on the back, I think it was Kansas or something where they launched them. I mean, literally, it was like a slideshow when that happened. That's how taxing it was. But again, they continue to optimize.
Look, nothing's better than the Southern 500 late in the afternoon. You go down that backstretch and you can't see shit. The only way you can drive the car is turn your head left and look down at the pavement. But that's realistic, dude. If you're in a real race car, it's the same thing. You cannot see.
It is. I can tell you, running short track and it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock during the summer. And when the sun starts to go down, you got 10 minutes where you're just not going to be able to see.
It's the same in anything, even when you're driving your own personal car.
Exactly. So I say I like it. There were people in the forums that say we need a knob to turn down the brightness of it. No, just deal with it. This is part of a simulation. You're being simulated.
I wonder with the graphics refresh what this will mean for, kind of the system requirements as well as then too.
Yeah, one video from the Road to Racer, he was going up over Bathurst and caught the sun, and he couldn't see which way to go, kind of thing. It was a moment.
Well, there is you got to trust your instincts or your muscle memory. That's all you can do.
All right, Brad, how about Garrett Lowe?
Yes, I had a post on X from Garrett Lowe says we're going racing in the NASCAR Euro Series. So a collaboration between Bree Motion and BS Competition. It's going to run the full series for the NASCAR Euro Series. So I think this is fantastic. We went over there. I think we talked probably a month or so ago. Had the opportunity to go over and test the car. So yeah, pretty cool. Glad to see Garrett get the opportunity. And I hope he'll do well. So probably will.
I was going to ask a dumb question there, and now I got my own answer. I was going to ask if he was an American citizen, but then I see his profile there with the American flag behind his face, his head.
Yep. Okay, and then the biggest sim to reality story, Greg, is who this week?
Yeah, so we had this is a post from Matt Busa, but we also had a nice surprise winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. I don't know if anybody picked Josh Berry to win at Las Vegas for his first ever win, but so Josh Berry was, found became friends with Dale Earnhardt from iRacing or sim racing in general, with like probably NASCAR 2003 and beyond for that, but yeah, so he won the Cup race, and Matt Busa was kind of just pointing out he's wondered why if Josh Berry isn't highlighted as a sim to reality success story as much as others like Byron. So I always wondered that, he is probably the original with kind of like Ty Majeski, because they all went around the same time, right?
Well, I think the difference being, so Josh was racing before he got hooked up with Junior online. When you look at, I get it when it comes to William Byron. So William started on sim and then got into a car. So I can kind of see it a little bit more there. But it's getting too hard to deny that there's a correlation between guys that spend time on sims and in real cars are good drivers. So I just that line is not it's I guess I don't know, it's not as blurred, or maybe it's more blurred now. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? It's just that there's the two are continually overlapping.
Yeah, I think to Matt's point is Josh, ran the Coke series. He's got 7 Coke wins. He's 5K iRating. He's been there, done that, and he's well respected in the sim racing community. Long before he was a NASCAR Cup driver this last Sunday, winner, I should say.
I've always cheered for him though, because I liked what Junior did. Like Junior could have anyone drive his cars, and he chooses this certain story, not certain stories, but people to help out drive his late model cars and enter in, and make entries for these guys and try and bring about, because he's got Quapple coming through, and I just wonder, he sees the talent in these guys before some other people do.
We got a nice video on X from eNASCAR handle that shows Josh's success in sim racing mixed in with his success this last Sunday, winning for the Wood Brothers. So pretty neat video. iRacing ended up retweeting that, as well as the NASCAR handle themselves. So pretty neat to tie Josh into iRacing during this, important moment for him in his first win.
Well deserved. It's kind of broken the mold of you don't have to be 19 years old anymore.
Hey guys, Will here. So it seems like these days,
you get back to the 70s and the 80s, and guys
You don't need Rich Daddy.
well, but you didn't get into the Cup Series until you were in your 30s anyway, because one, it took people too long to get to where they were. But you weren't going to stick somebody in there who didn't have any experience. Junior talked about that on this podcast this week. Was Josh, he knew racecraft. I mean, he's known racecraft for years, so he didn't have to go in there to learn racecraft. He knew what his racecraft was. So, and there's a maturity level. He's got a family. He's got kids. He's not going to go out there and do stupid stuff. And I think you see that in the way he drives. You saw that in the Xfinity Series. He didn't tear up equipment. He didn't make stupid decisions. He's not going to go into the corner and just move people out of the way, because he knows that he's had to fix that car that he tore up. If he tore the car up, he was the one that had to fix it.
All right, William, how about you take on our next AI video?
Yeah, so this is Boosted Media, Will, talking about Trophy AI, and we've talked about Trophy AI before. I've used it a couple times. I used it before they put it behind a paywall, and back when I used it, I was never able to get it set up right. Apparently, it's much better now. Will had some good things to say about it. He highlighted some of the mini games that you can play within it, and he highlighted the AI coaching, where it in real time tells you, hey, try braking 15 meters later here after you've done a few laps. And that's the part that they've put behind a paywall now. Like I said, try it if you think it'll work. There's a couple of these out there now. I'm not sure I'm willing to pay what they're wanting for it, but it might help some people.
It intrigues me, and I think seeing Will Ford's video and him actually on track and hearing what the AI is telling him, I think that really brings it home for me exactly what this product does. But, I would think it would help me as a driver, because I'm an old guy that can't learn new tricks kind of thing. Like, I can only go so fast at Spa in a given car. And if I could get, this thing telling me, oh, well, brake 15 meters later. Oh, don't turn in yet until you get a little bit closer. It'll say stuff like that. I think it could help me, pick up a little speed. There were drawbacks, though, and negatives. Like, sometimes what they're saying, it's too late. You've already gone through the corner and they haven't really spit it out yet. Or
Right.
Sometimes they're given the information 1 or 2 corners too early. And so there were some hiccups.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's, I'm gonna go to the oval side of this. So a spotter's watching the driver, and he's watching what somebody else is doing. He's watching what you're doing, so he's trying to give a suggestion. Hey, you need to run a little bit deeper into the corner, or hey, let off a little bit earlier, or keep your line a little bit lower. Try this. It's not necessary. It's real time, but then it's not. I mean, on the road side, I don't know. I have you telling me that, hey, when you get to turn 6, you need to brake 15 meters later. Well, it's going to be 20 turns before I get back to turn 6. I'm not sure I'm going to remember that.
15
No, the
minutes
next
later,
time
oh, really?
around. No, it's the next time around they tell you that. as you're approaching the corner, the idea is they say, okay, get,
Right.
you know,
So is it adapting to you then?
it does. Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
it's
to run a
supposed to.
lap before it even starts.
Because I mean, if anything, there's a 7-day free trial. If you want to try it, they at least offer
Right.
that.
Yeah, try it out. Maybe they've made a bunch of improvements since the last time I tried it. It was months ago. But like Mike said, the big thing I had when I tried it last time was just, and this was every time, this wasn't just sometimes, is it's not telling you until you're almost in the braking zone. Well, that does me no good, because then now I'm just going to blow the corner or not be able to take your advice.
Is there only I'm trying to figure out here. Is there only a specific cars that they deal with and tracks, or is it everything?
So it used to be kind of limited, and anytime they get a new car, it's generally a week or two before they get it on there. On the road side anyway, I haven't found many cars, at least in GT3, GTP, that they don't support now. But some of the stuff that doesn't have a lot of high participation, I think you might not see it in there.
Yeah, because you got to have people's laps to compare to, or as well, and so forth. All right, I got this one. How was your 2025 season one? iRacing put out the season one recaps you can get in the app or the UI, where you can see how you did for the season. But they did bring up the overall stats for season one: 32,000 unranked races, 451,000 ranked races. The big number here is how many laps completed? 179 million.
I want to hope, or one of so this is season one. I'm hoping when they get season two, we can have them side by side and see how they're doing, like growing wise. If there's more participation, like obviously the summertime, we have a little bit of lulls sometimes with people being away and things like that from the sim.
238,266 unique drivers. And I think we had heard before they're at 250,000 on active.
So when I saw this the other day, I immediately pulled out my calculator. What do we think? What's the average yearly subscription? What do you think the average is that everybody pays?
I pay like 7 because I buy every 2 years.
Even if you
But most people probably are 10. Yeah, maybe 10.
Well, let's think yearly. So I think I did 80. That's like
Isn't it $99 a year?
Yeah, I did 80 to $80. So if 238,266 people paid $80 a year for iRacing, it's like $19 million just in subscription dues
in 3 months.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
That's a yearly.
For yearly, yeah.
Okay.
That's a huge amount of income.
It is,
and that's before you buy tracks and cars.
Look, they have an army of people working there. How many do you think they have now? It's probably.
Well, I'm pretty
30,
sure they probably
40?
They have over $1 million in payroll probably there easily.
That's their biggest expense for sure. I would guess is payroll. But look, it's worth it.
No, like I said, it's just that's one of those things. As somebody who runs a business, that's the immediately thing I first start thinking about. What's their revenue? And I mean, if I knew that I had 19 million coming in guaranteed, basically, and then everything else is tracks, cars, that's all gravy. I don't know what they bring in with hosted. I know it doesn't cost a lot to host, but if you're talking about
that hosted page is filled every night too.
There's 147,000 hosted events.
What's the average cost to host an event?
$2 or $3.
Under $1.
It can be up to $2 or $3, can it?
It can be, but let's just say it's $1. That's 150,000.
I'm not complaining. I'm everybody likes to say that every time there's a new sim release, this is going to be the downfall of iRacing. Well, I think they're doing pretty well.
Well, the funnier thing is, okay, it's 147,000 hosted events. That's only in what is it? 13 weeks. That's if you think how many of that per day, how many hosted session that is per day.
Pretty cool.
It's 11,360 per week.
Holy shit.
That's 1,622 per day.
That page has always got multiple pages in there.
That's 67.6 per hour.
I love doing math like that.
We have a post from Angela on season 2 contest. And so she's got the huge list in the forums. One of them is the first one here is called Ready Set Sim for the Formula C Super Formula Lights. $500 Amazon gift card is the prize. But yeah, as you go down, there's too many for me to go through, but there's a bunch of them to win. At the bottom, she does say, note, you must disable Trading Paints liveries on your car for any of the logo contests.
I wanted to do the joke again, Mike. You ruined it. I wanted to ask Brad if it needed to have the Trading Paints on.
I don't know. I don't care about prizes. I'm gonna run my livery that I want to run.
Exactly. I'm not going to go undo my paint on Trading Paints. Are you kidding me? No.
I have sponsor obligations.
That's right. We got to shout out our friends and our family, you know? So, all right. Hey, William, how about the mini stocks at Monza?
Yeah, so iRacing's official Instagram page put out a video, and I don't know if this is hosted, something they did. I don't know, it's not really clear, but it's the mini stocks running a Monza, and this looks like a blast. I saw this earlier in the week, and I asked the grassroots guys if we could make this our next hosted race because I want to try it.
It is fun. I mean, the Monza Oval, for one, is just a blast. I mean, where else in the world do we have a backwards oval? And then, getting off that front stretch and funneling down into that first turn. If you're 3 or 4 wide, somebody's not going to make it, and that's what you see in this video pretty much.
Like perfect. The perfect camera angle.
Well, they're kind of fun to drive. I mean, they're kind of like moving lawnmowers. But yeah. All right. And then, William, how about the NASCAR 25 more immersion?
Again, Instagram posts from iRacing. They're showing off some of the new NASCAR 2025 work in progress art, and they talked to Mike DeVault. I want to say his name is. He's the lead UI artist on the game, and he just goes through and kind of gives you an overview of what they're working on. The Instagram video just shows you kind of starts outside the truck, and the camera takes you into the driver's seat, and it gives you all the options, and your team radio starts talking to you, and off they go.
It looks like it's going to be pretty cool. The initial, at the beginning of the video, when they show the crew guy and then the crowd around the truck, I noticed it looks better than the iRacing people. These people look a little bit better.
They're still stiff as F.
So
they're still swaying left to right a little bit.
There's a guy in the sweater in the background there. I'm very worried about in the windshield here. I'm very worried for him.
So listening to Junior's podcast this week, he actually mentions some of the songs that they've gotten for the soundtrack for this game, and so there's going to be some surprises. Some very well known music is going to be used, and I guess whoever it is that's doing the title track, he said that he ended up having to send an email to, I guess, whoever the manager is or whatnot, to finally explain why they wanted to use it to get the final approval for that song to be used.
Well, knowing Dale's music taste, who do you think it may be?
I have no idea. No idea.
Didn't he have wasn't it Fleetwood Mac he was having a thing about the other day? He was talking about it with his wife on her show. I can't remember what it was.
I refuse to listen to that show. I have enough drama in my own marriage. I don't need to listen to somebody else's.
Okay,
hold on. You know your wife's on Facebook right now watching us, right?
It's okay.
Okay, Brad, tell us sim racing traps to avoid from Jackster.
Yeah, so we had a video here from Jackson. He's been putting out a ton of content. I almost get updates from him every day. But so yeah, so if some things to try to avoid trap wise, giving up too easy. It's look, it doesn't go well. It's easy just to say, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna go do something different. Unsafe rejoins. Mike should know all about this. Neglecting racecraft. That's a big one.
I feel like David has all these in his emails to to iRacing.
So neglecting racecraft. Yeah, I mean we've talked about that a lot. Blaming others. So look, I'm guilty for this too.
I'm perfect.
We run in the majors race this past week, Sunday night, and I ended up with a 10-second penalty, and I thought for certain that I was fine, no issues. I'm like, I'm gonna appeal it. This is crap. I can't believe this happened. I go back in and watch the replay, and guess what? I was in the wrong. That contact was on me. And then the sim racing magician racing the Delta bar. I don't even put this up anymore because I have gotten into that trap to where all I do is I'm like chasing. It's got to be green. It's got to be green. Got to be green. And I overdrive. I drive harder than I should. So that's a big one for me. I don't even have it up anymore.
But the problem is when it goes red, and then the next time you're trying to make up for it, and then you really screw up.
The only time I will turn it on every now and then, and I only on the oval side, and I'll turn it on to the previous lap to try. If I'm trying to manage a run, I will do that to try mainly trying to just be consistent in my laps. It's about the only time I ever use it anymore.
That's why JRT, like I have the JRT app. I have the best lap and previous lap on my dash, so I can work through runs that way when I see it on my my tablet. But the only time I ever use the Delta in iRacing is on the qualifying lap, just so that I know how I'm doing.
All right, Greg, how about the Trading Paints 2025 Season 1 wrap-up?
So I guess they go through on Instagram here some of their best cars. First one I guess they show here is their top colors used. So a shade of yellow, a shade of blue, and a shade of red are the most common colors, I guess. In that they got their certain codes there. The most raced showroom paints, and they're obviously all in BMW. So that was the M2 class was to have been really, really popular last season. Favorite showroom paints on a couple of cup car or actual real life cars, I guess, eh? So you got Al Geier's car from the Cup Series at Daytona. You got Rexy, and you got the Dex Wayne Taylor Cadillac. Most popular painters: John Rubino, Paul R. I don't even know how Shaloner, and Samuel J. Ball are the most popular painters. And most popular vehicle, obviously, were the M2, the Cup car, and the 911, which I guess probably that's going to be the most popular every season from now on.
So on the Cup car, why is it the Chevy? Where's the Toyota and the Ford?
Nobody cares about Toyota.
Yeah, you're the only one you're the only one that runs that.
I am surprised. I'm not surprised. The BMW M2 is the most popular vehicle on Trading Paints. For one, it's fairly new, and two, it's a great drive. I run this car almost every day,
and it's by a big margin. Like it
has
8,000 paints more.
I still need a Tifosi or iRacers Lounge paint for that car, by the way. Brad, let's talk Sim Gaming Expo. We have a coupon code.
Yes, we do. Hang on. So first, so we've got a coupon code. So if you use when you go into get your tickets, if you use IRLP10, you can save 10% off of the tickets. So then we actually ended up with some more announcements this week. So we've got the Sim Racing Den's going to be there. Mike puts out some good stuff. Looking forward to meeting him. We've also got the MX5 All Day. I guess it's a channel that does nothing but MX5 racing and iRacing. Can honestly say I've never seen it, but that's okay. And then we got SimCraft was another exhibitor announcement. So, yep. So SimCraft will be there.
Motion rig. I can't wait to try one. I have never been on a motion rig, guys.
That's what I'm looking forward to too, Mike. I want to try one of those.
Yep. So looking forward to that. So look, I booked my flights this evening. Hotel rooms booked. So Mike and you and I have already talked about splitting an Uber from the airport to the airport since we're flying around the same time. So it's gonna be a fun time, guys. Looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm booked up as well. Flights and room, and David's got us hooked up for the passes already because we're gonna have our own booth right in the middle of the expo. Like we're like dead center on the floor, guys. So it's going to be so cool. Look, if you're a listener and you're just showing up to, by yourself, you're not by yourself. You got the iRacers Lounge guys. You come hang with us. Okay. Everyone is welcome to hang with us. And that's really why we're doing a booth, is to be able to, interface with you listeners, and that kind of thing. So go up, guys, get your 10% off. Let them know that, you heard it from us.
Come say hi to a Canadian.
Hey,
we won't tariff you. We promise.
That's a terrible joke.
Greg may charge you $5 for a handshake, Canadian, which is really like $12.50.
The hardest part is going to be me getting to drive down there for the 8 hours that I got to drive there.
You're bringing your dad, aren't you?
It's still up in the air because, anyways, it's a long story.
I got you.
The more the merrier. All right, William, how about the Sebring 12 hours?
Yep. iRacing special event, Sebring 12 hour this weekend. We've got a couple teams running, I think. I know me and Brad are doing a GT3. We picked up one of the grassroots guys to fill a 3-man team. And then I know David and a couple of the guys running the GTP as well. So should be a good time.
And is rain expected?
None at all. They even put that out on social media. They would expect a sunny day at Sebring. It's amazing.
So lots of HDR, guys. Put your HDR on.
Wait, now what about smoke? Don't they have smoke in Florida right now?
Yeah. Not quite at Sebring, but yeah.
That's outside of Homestead.
Homestead, yeah.
What part of Florida is Sebring at?
Kind of like the middle of the state, halfway between Orlando and Miami, I think.
All right, and then Brad, this week in iRacing.
Yep, so as we mentioned, we got the Sebring 12 hours. The NASCAR iRacing Series is at Homestead this week. Great track. The iRacing Grand Prix Tour is at Autodroma del Mugello. IndyCar is back. And
at the best racetrack for this car.
That would be the now defunct Auto Club Speedway. Where
Do you remember last year's race, Mike?
Yeah, it was good, actually. I think this might be fun. I think Saturday night I'm going to probably try to run this.
Sorry for cutting you off, Brad.
That's okay. We got the Dirt Super Late Model Tour is back this week. That's at Charlotte. Sprint Car is at Kevin Harvick Speedway. And then the Wheeling Modified Tour iRacing Series is at South Boston. Late model tour as well at Five Flag Speedway. So, and got all the normal Rainmaster, Draftmaster, and whatnot. And the college series ran this week, but I think that's about it.
Podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out our Discord and get involved in the discussion. Very heavy discussion about sim racing hardware this week. You guys are missing out on. Of course, our website, iRacersLounge.com for the show notes. And we're in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network. Make sure to get your iRacers Lounge merchandise before the Sim Gaming Expo. Wear your shirts, your hats, guys, your jerseys. Try to represent, okay? You can get that at iRacersLounge.shop. And fantasy, Josh Berry.
Yep. So Cup Series rolled into Las Vegas Motor Speedway this past week. We had Res Dog taking the win with 221 points, followed by Silver Mustang 91. Third was Connor Truman, fourth NASCAR Jedi 2. Fifth was Matt Robb 40. So I will admit this is the first week where I completely screwed up and forgot to set my lineup.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's like got done with the first stage. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah,
And I went and looked. I was like, well, I'm okay right now. And then they didn't end too well. So Josh Berry with the win. Good race. Vegas does put on good racing. We see it in the sim. We see it in real life as well. Biggest takeaway for me was all of the pit road issues this week. So I think it's just we got down to the point where everybody's trying to find that 1/10 of a second on pit row, and now we're starting to see mistakes again. We had two loose wheels. Briscoe and Kyle Busch lost a wheel. So getting a little bit more interesting on pit road.
And then Christopher Bell not losing a wheel by letting a different team actually tighten his wheel. That was interesting.
And Josh Berry had to come back and get a loose wheel tightened as well.
Yeah, I know they made some changes, and they talked about this, I guess, a few weeks ago with the guns. I guess the guns now are to where when they drop them on the ground, they actually change the rotation. So in order to try to speed things up to where the tire guy is not having to flip, on or off. Well, I mean, not on or off, but tighten or loosen. Actually, they hit on the ground. So I don't know. It's like I said, we're down to where we're talking 8.5 second pit stops, and when 1/10 of a second can be a spot or two, they're taking every opportunity to try to be as quick as possible. But we all know what happens when you're being quick. But look, when it was 5 lugs, if you missed one, you could survive without one. But when you've only got one lug, it is what it is.
We thought that when they went to this, there goes all the mistakes on pit road and time and stuff on pit road, and now it's like it's all coming through. It's so much faster. Instead of 14 seconds or 13 seconds, well, they even have it down to, what do they have it down to? 5 with Douglas, they had it down to 11 seconds or 12 seconds, and now we're in the 8s. Like, how long until they try and get the 7th? I mean, there's going to be so far. They can only go so far.
All right. Homestead. I mean, when I think of Homestead, I think Kyle Larson.
In the water barrels?
Reddick.
In the water barrels?
Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
The last 2 times he's had bad luck.
Well, that's the thing with Kyle. It's wreckers or checkers at times. I mean, he's gonna overdrive the car, and either he's gonna win the race or he's gonna wreck it. I don't know. I really don't know who to look at this weekend.
Blaney will be fast. You just don't know if he'll finish it.
True. So I don't know. Penske has run well, but they're not getting the finishes. That's the issue there. Spire, I just continuing to, I've continued to be absolutely floored with the improvement this year from Spire, especially with Carson Hocevar. If they can get pit road figured out, I'm telling you, I think he's going to win a race this year. All right, so after overall league standings, we got Res Dog in first with 958, followed by Silver Mustang 91. Michael Wuju is in third, Canadian fourth, Boats and Hose in fifth, and a shout out to Tyler Williamson. Fat Boy 1990 is in sixth place.
All right, get those picks in. Hardware, software. Brad, let's start off with the 2025 SimMagic wheelbase settings from Jaxer.
Yeah, I watched this, and I have not tried his settings yet. And I don't know, settings are it. This is where I can get into a rabbit hole with stuff where I keep trying stuff. It's just such a preference thing when it comes to these. And I mean, right now I have a oval setting and I have a road setting. So I have my own settings that I've kind of tweaked on the road side that were, I think those were originally suggested by, what is it, Race Beyond Matter on those. On the oval side, I've been using some settings from one of our listeners, Chad McNeese, who's super active in our Discord and on the iRacing forum. And I've been happy with those. So, yeah, I mean, let's do it. I mean, he does a good job of trying to explain what some of them are. But, yeah, I need to try it. Just this was not the week leading up to Sebring that I'm willing to spend a whole lot of time messing with my force feedback. I started down the rabbit hole earlier this week trying to do the Marvin's awesome iRacing app or whatever, and I tried that twice and got completely frustrated and deleted it again, just because it's not the week to mess with it.
On that note, I have switched completely over to Marvin's force feedback app. I'm happy with it. Initially, I wasn't, but once I figured out what I was doing wrong and how to adjust it, I actually like it. On the Gen 7, I actually bring up the strength, I think it's called, to 130% instead of leaving it the normal 100, because I always thought that the force feedback always felt weak on that car. So it's kind of neat to dial it up a little bit. And then I run the effects side of it like roughly at 200% on no matter what car. And then I'll use the strength at 100% on most cars. And it seems to be working. I've kind of A-B'd it and gone back and forth, and I think I'm preferring it, actually.
So I went out and I messed with it at Road America ahead of the majors race, and there's an option where there's a button for auto to where it should, I guess, supposed to do the same thing that iRacing does. You run, I think there you run it like 10, 15 seconds or whatever and you hit the auto. But every time I did that, it was taking my strength like up to 90, 100, 150, 200. And I was like, well, I mean, I could hardly turn the wheel. So like I said, I got super frustrated with it.
All right. I got this one, the Simpson peripherals. So Simpson has, which is the type of brakes pedals I have a new set of hand brakes, basically, and they call it the Pro X series.
Yeah, they look good. I mean, we know where these are coming from. It's Chinese, so it's somewhat of a knockoff of some stuff. But yeah, the sequential shifter looks nice. I mean, at $160, it's not horrible. I hope the RGB lights that are on there would be hopefully something you could turn off. That would would aggravate me to beyond belief.
There's a H pattern as well. The pricing is $79. It's like, and the handbrakes are, $145. I got these pedals, the whole thing, the tray, the 3 pedals, all for $400 shipped with tax. So I think, Simpson is very affordable. I think that, if that's what you're looking for, are knockoff Chinese products, yeah, this is probably for you.
Mike, I'll grab the next one. So I threw this on the script. This is the Track Racer variable vase mounts. So during week 13, I had bought these. I bought a set of 3 of these, I guess about a month ago, and was waiting for week 13 and decided to take the time, redo all my monitors. I had the SimLab Vario base mounts, and while they were good for getting the monitors into an adjustment and get them aligned, I could never get the monitors tight enough to where if I didn't touch them, they wouldn't wobble or they would move and shift. So the one thing I liked about these is it's a little bit beefier, but all of the adjustments have thumb knobs, as opposed to having to use 2 different size Allen wrenches to try to make the adjustments with the SimLabs. And then with these, once you get the adjustment where you get it set, you can actually tighten down one screw. You do use an Allen wrench for that. But once you get it set, you tighten that down, they don't move. So if anybody's looking to try to figure out, a good option for getting your monitors lined up and want something that's going to be nice and stable and to where they don't move if you touch them or bump them by accident, these things are great.
How much more do your monitors stick out with this product than when they would be without it?
Well, if I was mounted directly to the frame with the traditional vase mounts that it comes with, it's just basically like the L-shaped bracket, nothing adjustable. I tried that at first, and I could never get everything lined up. They stick out more than that. But when I went ahead and redid everything, I started back from square one and set my center monitor and got my distance right, and then I went through and readjusted, got my angles right. So I am super happy. Yes, they stick out a little bit more, but I took the time to make sure I had all my angles, did my measurements, and got everything to where it's based off of what my eye distance is. When I'm set up to run, eye distance to my center screen, I've got, I think 177 degrees is what my field of view is now.
All right, and then we got another new Track Racer product, the TR40S. And so we have seen the TR160S come out last year, and now an update to the TR40 with the TR40S. Holy cow, what a deal. $339. And that's, of course, without a seat. But if you're looking for an entry-level, aluminum profile style rig, this is pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, it's 40 series, so it's going to be you've got some nice rigidity. I've got a 160, so I mean, you could almost flip this thing over and it wouldn't. I mean, it's just that solid. But for an entry level, yeah, I mean, $400, it's hard to beat it.
Look, if you came to me and asked, should I get this or the more expensive one, I'm going to tell you to get the more expensive one, the TR80 or the TR160S, because it is bigger and beefier. It's 80 versus 40, but will this work? Yeah, it'll work. Okay, William, how about you take this one? Cheap upgrades to make you faster.
Yeah, so get good racing. Excuse me. Put out a video about some, and he says cheap. Some of these I don't think are maybe all that cheap, but he starts off with 10 things he thinks that are cheap upgrades to make you faster in iRacing. So it goes through cushions in your seat, Velcro pads, springs for your brakes, heel extender for your pedal plate, the iFlag that I know a lot of people use and I've seen around, pedal vibrators for your pedals, button box, and then at the end he talks about shoes and gloves. I agree with him. For some of this stuff, especially about the seat cushion, that changed my rig because I have this cheap NRG seat. But But especially the pedal springs.
What'd you do as far? Would you get a lumbar pillow?
Yeah, I just bought a cheap lumbar pillow off Amazon and stuck it in the bottom of my seat, and it has done wonders.
Which energy sheet do you have?
The Prism. There we go. Sorry, I had to look over the rig. Yeah, just the basic one you can get. I think I got it. I don't remember if I went to Summit or I went to Amazon for it, but it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. I know we put a Corbo seat in the chat a while ago. I wish I'd saved up a little bit and went for that one.
Would you dig through your Amazon list and send me which lumbar pillow you got?
Yeah, I'll certainly send that to you after we get off.
That's fine.
I don't have a lumbar, but I have a seat cushion that's on for your butt, under your butt, and it's Samsonite.
Yeah, I think mine is. Brad, I think mine is like a knockoff. Have you seen the purple pillow with the hex grid that kind of is supposed to really be good for your neck and all that? I think it's kind of a knockoff like that, except for your butt.
That would be fine. Being over 50, the lumbar issue is a problem for me. And I've looked at, I've been close to grabbing one before, and I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work or not. But if you got one that fits, man, yes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but it was like $12. So I was like, you know what? Let's try it.
So, I was going to say one of the items on his list was for upgrades was button box. I got me a button box. I got me the Stream Deck XL off Facebook Marketplace for $140, normally $250. And then I bought from SimSport Gadget a mount for it, a box and a mount. And I got that in place as of last night, finally, and programmed, and I love it. I can't tell you guys how much I love the Stream Deck with the programmable buttons. You can program the way they look with logos or whatever, and it's super handy for pit stops, 4 tires, 2 tires left, splash of fuel, no fuel, those kind of things.
I've got the same thing.
For those things, can you make the thumbnail for them?
Yeah, any graphic you want.
Okay, cool.
In our drive, Greg, I put up a whole bunch of already pre-made ones that people had done. I think there's like 18,000 of the icons in there that I put up in the drive. Right. But yeah, if you want to, you can make your own.
That's what I was looking, because I was thinking of that like for other sims as well that I use. I just right. but I was just thinking that's the one thing I don't have or haven't upgraded to.
So, Mike, do you like the SimSport mount? How do you have it mounted? Do you have it like in front of you or off to the side? How's it done?
It's over here on my left, off to the side. And I bought the extra $20 metal mount that he offers with it, and I'm glad I did, because the regular, 3D printed mount doesn't have any option to angle it or twist it to the side. So if I had used that one, it wouldn't be facing me. It'd be facing straight back. So I'm glad I bought the metal one, because it has little balls on it where you could literally twist it any angle you want. And then the neat thing about it is you can lock it down once you get the right angle. And it's nice and sturdy, and the box looks really good. So yeah, I'm very happy with it.
Brad, you watched this whole video, right?
Yes.
I can't watch it right now because if I turn the volume on, then it's in our stream. But the head tracking part, is he talking about software for the head tracking?
Yeah, it's with a webcam, so it gives you kind of like a DIY with the VR. So
it's kind of like it's the other version that they have of the Track IR from years ago.
Yeah, back when you had to put the hat on with the little things on little thing on your hat.
I saw another one that's coming that I don't know if it's probably older, but it was a VR2, it's a version 2 of that type of thing, but it doesn't need as much as what the old one used to.
Yeah, the iFlag, I added one of those about 6 months ago, and I have been super happy with it. On the oval side, it doesn't make much of a difference. I mainly did it for the roadside, and with running IMSA and multi-class, the blue flag option that you get when you run there, for me, it's beneficial. In iRacing, you get the little blue flag that shows up in the top left corner. Well, when you're in the heat of a battle, it's hard. One, it's hard to sometimes listen to the spotter, but two, see that little flag. But that thing starts going off, you can't miss it. So that's the main reason that I added that.
Well, we noticed since you've gone into the NIS season, you've gotten a little bit more tan from the yellow flag color.
I think that's going to be my next upgrade too, Brad. I know there's some DIY kits out there you can do if you have a 3D printer, so I might pick one up and try it.
See, that's anyone that like I run it shows up on my dash the flag color and just puts like a transparent tint on the dash when you're racing.
I haven't felt a need for one of these. Look, my Cube Controls wheel, it'll flash blue. Like all the buttons start going blue, or my Razer keyboard, it'll go yellow when the yellow flag comes out. So I see that in my peripheral, pretty good. And even the new Stream Deck XL with some of the buttons that William put up in our drive for it, you can turn on a flag thing where it'll flash yellow when the yellow comes out. I actually turned that feature off though. I found it kind of annoying. But you can even program that right into the Stream XL.
Yeah, my Pro Switch panel does that too. The same thing.
All right, Brad, how about the perfect sim seating setup?
Yeah, so we got a video here from Daniel Morad. He put this out, I guess, about a week or so ago, and a really good video. So I would suggest you watch it. Talks about how important it is to try to mimic the correct seating position when you're in a race car, and even more so from an ergonomical standpoint. The angle that your legs are at, your body's at, your arms are at. If you have it set up incorrectly, one, you get tired quicker, and if you do long races, you're going to get worn out a lot faster. It's more comfortable. So, I got done watching this and I was like, you know what? I need to probably make an adjustment to my seat. So I actually angled my seat back a little bit more in order to get a little bit more support for my legs from my seat and the cushion, because the one thing I was noticing was on longer races, my legs were hurting. So I actually played with that a little bit. So I still need, I think, to mess with my pedal tray a little bit to work better on that when it comes to the angle. I think that's the only where I got a little deficiency right now. So that's kind of a plan to maybe play with that the next couple of weeks. But yeah, look, there's certain things that you want to get the ergonomics right, because if you don't have them right, again, it's fatigue. You end up with discomfort. There's been times where I've gotten up. I've gotten up from a long race and I go walking upstairs and my wife's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just gotta stretch my legs. They're really, really sore." She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be okay." So, he gives a lot of good explanation. The one thing that we don't think about sometimes is, one is the force that you're using when you brake. If you've got a high end set of pedals, you've got to use quite a bit of force. And if you don't have the ergonomics right to where your back is, and that's where I brought up the lumbar pillow, I can feel it in my lower back when I have to exert a lot of pressure to brake. I can feel that in my lower back. And then especially with your arms, you want to have about a 90-degree angle. When you grab the steering wheel, you want a 90-degree angle from your arms coming down from your forearm to your upper arm, because then you're actually able to use a little bit of your chest when it comes to try to steer and stuff like that. So definitely a good watch.
It is. Daniel Morad is like the perfect guy for letting you know what the right angle of your back, your leg, your feet, your arms, your elbow, because he does this for a living. So what better guy to give you the right information, in other words. Second, I love his setup in his little sim room with the black walls, the wood floor. He's got his trophies. He's got his helmets on the wall. He's got the most beautiful sim racing rig, like the Advanced Sim Racing Pro, that's got his branding on it. He's got D-Box on each corner. He's got the highest end sim racing equipment stuck on this rig that you can buy, like SimCore stuff and SemiCube active pedals and SemiCube bass, and wow, what a neat looking rig.
I gotta see if I can adjust my seat to that because I have mine level. I gotta try and lift the front.
Yeah, see, that's what I did. I had mine more like that, and then so I laid mine back one sec. You can took it up in the front. I think there's 3 changes I could make. I took it up one. It's a lot better. I actually would like to take it to where it's laying all the way back, but if I do that, I've got to make some changes to my monitors because I'm too far away at that point. So like even with me making that angle adjustment to the seat, I actually had to take and shift my wheel deck closer to me because that change in the angle of my back probably cost me about 1 inch of distance to the wheel. So I actually had to make an adjustment to my wheelbase.
I'll have to look at mine after the show to see what I can do for mine.
All right, Greg, how about Alpine F1 extends track racer partnership?
Yeah, so if you go, I guess this is a release from, is it Alpine's site? I guess.
Yeah.
So they just announced they've extended their extension of its successful partnership with Track Racer as a global leader in sim racing industry. This renewed collaboration reinforces a shared commitment to innovation, high performance at esports and sim racing technology. So Track Racer's been around since 2008, and so that's good to have an F1 big partner like that endorsing your product. And obviously, probably whenever they have sim stuff set up, it's probably on a sim track or Track Racer sim rig.
Look, if I was not buying an 80/20 style, aluminum extrusion rig, I'd be telling you to buy this Alpine blue Track Racer tubular rig made out of tubes. It's very adjustable. We've seen the reviews on this before. Sarah Nochi has one of these, and the adjustment on it is pretty darn good. Even though it presents challenges of trying to mount accessories and different things like that. But yeah, pretty cool. All right, Brad, how about Precision Sim Engineering's release?
Yeah, so we talked about this last week. This is the new DDUs that they were releasing. So they were released 2 different sizes. You've got the I think it's a 5 and then a 6.8. I think is what it is. So yeah, we talked about these. They're beautiful. They're expensive, but they're super nice looking.
449 euros.
The smaller one's 389. The 5 inches 389. I'm a big fan of precision sim engineering stuff. Obviously, I own some of it. Is it worth the extra than over what something like Brad paid? I don't know, but they are beautiful DDUs.
Yes, they are.
All right, I'll take Reinventing the Wheel. We have SimPit, Sean Cole and his friend reviewing the Conspit wheel. Now, my first thing I thought about when I saw this video, Brad, was, can we buy this in the U.S. yet?
Yes, you can. AliExpress sells these. I get emails about them every single day.
Do we trust buying from AliExpress?
I have bought some stuff from AliExpress, believe it or not. It's been okay.
Yeah, you can get some stuff off AliExpress and be okay.
It takes a couple weeks to get it.
If you want to buy it officially from them, no, they don't have a U.S. distributor. You have to buy it from someone and get it imported, which I don't even want to know what that's going to cost.
That's a gorgeous wheel.
Hence the AliExpress option. Yeah, it's not a bad looking wheel at all. with this wheel, it looks like at least you can change the buttons, which is nice. Some of the first ones they released were a constant purple, and that would be a no-go for me.
A couple things. I'm not a fan of the teeter-totter paddles on the back, I guess I'll call them. I want independent paddles that are separately controlled from each other from left to right.
Any of those ones
I
that
agree.
have had that teeter-totter, because I have the GT3 wheel, the McLaren GT3 wheel from Fanatec, they always seem to have shifting problems. If any of the things I've looked into in the past, they've all come up with a problem where they need to be either modified so the problem doesn't happen, or you just have a defective wheel after a while.
Is the Fanatec the teeter-totter type?
Oh yeah, it's got one pin in the center and it teeters off of it.
And the other thing, Sean Cole, I mean, his title is reinventing the wheel. He says that, but honestly, this is no different than any of the other wheels we've seen out there. Really, it's nothing groundbreaking or different. It looks good. It's nice.
Is it the first one we've seen where they kind of angle the buttons more towards where you're pushing, like the direction you're pushing them in? Like a lot of times they're flat faced on the actual thing. These ones kind of have a turn towards the thumbs and stuff like that.
Concave, yeah.
I was gonna bring up. That's the only thing on this wheel. I don't particularly like how it looks. It's just okay to me, and I could not deal with those shifters. But the buttons, and there are two on each side that are by your thumbs, are actually angled towards your thumbs. That'd make it really easy to press. I do like that. Other than that, yeah, it's just another Formula wheel.
I was gonna say it's more like this kind of goes in line with, you got you set your seat upright and your steering wheel upright. Now having the buttons angled at your fingertips properly is another thing I would look into on these things. It's kind of cool.
All right, this next one I put on, it's not a sim racing wheel, but I found it fascinating. So Tony Kanaan, who's the team principal now over at McLaren IndyCar,
this year,
he shows off the McLaren IndyCar wheel made by Cosworth for Aero McLaren, and he gives us a little tour of the wheel. Shows the front, the back, the buttons, he talks about the cost. I think he said $50,000 or something. But I just find it fascinating to compare the offerings that we have to purchase in sim racing compared to this. I mean, this looks like a Gomez wheel. It looks like some of these other ones that we've look at every week.
Well, these wheels this year are a little bit different from the last couple of years because they got to deal with the new power units they have in the cars, because they got to have there's a couple different extra lights added for the power.
A couple of points. Look at how rudimentary the twisty knobs are in the middle. I mean, they're like plastic, and they have a little cutout where you can see the number 1, and you twist it, it's 2, and so forth. But very low end looking knobs.
I bet you they're metal, Air Force metal grade to look like plastic.
The shifters on the back are 3D printed, so who knows?
And then the grips almost look like they have grip tape on them, or
they do
bicycle grips, or
Look, it's when you're driving 200 miles an hour, and you need to make an adjustment. You need to make it as simple as possible.
Okay, let's Brad, how about Dave Cam says incredible force feedback.
Yep. So as we said earlier, this is a video from Dave Cam talking about Marvin's awesome iRacing app. So I had tried this like a week or so ago, and then I wasn't happy. So watch this video from Dave Cam. I was like, okay, I'm going to give it another shot. I was a little bit happier, but still not enough happy in order to keep going. So, but just a kind of a quick hit. He kind of hit some of the high notes of the app, what it does, and he's happy with it. Like I said, I've not sworn this out completely. I I need probably a week where I can take more time to try to figure it out. My only concern is I don't want to have to be doing adjustments for every car with the iRacing. The way the iRacing is now, I have a road profile in my Sim Magic, and I have an oval profile, and regardless of what car I get into in iRacing, I run a few laps, I hit the auto feature, and I'm good to go. I just don't want to have to constantly change stuff every time I get a different car.
Well, look, this video helped me a lot get me set up on Marvin's, racing app, because because Dave Cam teaches me the target should be the same as your wheel's base strength, and I had no idea what to set that one at, before I watched this video. So those little things kind of helped me. And what I learned too was once I get those set, there's really only two things to change. There's the overall and then there's the detail. And so the overall is how much percentage of strength you want, and the detail is how much, detail do you want. So it's just two things. You can actually map those two buttons or knobs on your button box. And I did that for by hitting the plus sign over there. You can map them. But then when you get into a car, you can just literally turn the knob and dial it to where you want. Two knobs. And the only other thing I touch on the software is the word test. When I first launch it, I just hit the word test to make sure, and it rumbles the wheel a little bit so you can feel it.
Go ahead, William.
I haven't watched Dave's video yet, but I have done a ton of Myra testing over the past week or so. I know I talked to Chad in the Discord about it a few weeks ago, and I just couldn't get it set up right. Well, I went back on it this week and finally spent some time to get to it, and I do like it. My league was at Sebring, and obviously 12-hour at Sebring this week, so I've been at Sebring pretty much all week. And once you get it dialed in, going through turn one, you really feel those bumps. You feel like your car is bumping. I don't know if anybody watched the real 12-hour. They had a great camera angle that basically showed from behind the car them going through turn one and just hopping the whole way through. It really feels like that. And I went back and forth a couple times between the regular iRacing and Myra, and eventually, to me anyway, the regular iRacing just kind of felt like my tires were
mushy.
Yeah, marshmallows basically, or like the Moon Rover or something.
There's more detail. Yeah, that's what I felt, was a little bit more detail. Not a lot. It's subtle, but it feels like it's more.
I'm not claiming it's going to make me faster or anything. In fact, I did some testing and I was really within a tenth either way, but it just feels better.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I haven't completely, I haven't ruled it out. I don't want to, like, what concerns me, I don't want to have to get into the car and have to remember, if I get in this car, I need to have the detail here, I need to have this here.
One more thing, yeah.
Yeah, see, with iRacing, again, once my base is set, hit the, go out, boom, auto lights on, click it, I'm good to go. It's hard sometimes. I can screw up and I'll get halfway through a race and I realize, I've got the freaking oval setting in here and I'm running it at a road course, and because I screw up and forget that. So, that's my only concern.
Yeah, I'm hopeful in the future he can do like profiles or something with cars where it automatically loads. I know like SimHub can do that, so I'm hopeful something like that could be added.
Or how about Dave Tucker from iRacing learns from this and adds this into the actual sim?
Maybe Marvin gets hired. Who knows?
Right. Hire this guy. Obviously, he knows what he's doing. All right, Greg, I guess you got the next one. It's Cletus McFarland gets a rig.
My new one of my new guys I cheer for. I just enjoyed this guy. Have some respect for him.
That's because he's an American.
No, I just like his story. He seems like a genuinely good guy, and I love this color scheme. And I can deal with the seat, but it's totally on brand for him with this whole color scheme and this whole rig. I'm guessing would those be 42-inch monitors?
Those are the same I got, 43s, except
43s?
they're curves.
They are
That's a
gorgeous.
nice stand, too.
It's just gorgeous, and it's obviously on motion too.
It looks like an ASR Pro rig, branded with powder blue, with D-box style motion on each corner. Looks like maybe a Moza shifter and Moza steering.
That's a
triple 43s. Podium One Racing. So, man, these guys put out some fancy stuff, and I actually am friends on TikTok with a guy who works at Podium One Racing, and I'm like, dude, because he was putting up little videos of him, building stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm going to see you at Chicago in the Sim Gaming Expo, right? He's like, maybe.
If you got 50 grand to spend on a rig, there you go.
But look, you don't have to pay Podium One in their premium to get this rig. You could build this on your own. This is all stuff you can purchase. Okay, Brad, how about base, shaker, mount?
Yep, so we just got a quick hit from SimSport Gadget. These are Shake It Up. So these are 3D printed mounts to mount your base shakers. These are made for the Dayton audio shakers, so mount right to your rig. Again, SimSport Gadget, I have spent way too much money with them, and it's easy to go on there and just want to continue to spend. So yeah, they got two different sizes depending on which you've got. So yeah, I mean, they're fairly inexpensive when it comes to stuff, but yeah, good stuff. This is on the bucket list of things to add as haptics to the rig at some point. So,
all right. In the interest of time, we're going to skip ahead to. We finally get to spend Mike's money. Well, we had the Moza release this week. Moza put up a video earlier this week detailing out their new Moza M Booster active brake pedal, as well as a new shifter that doubles as a brake and a flight stick. And so that was the video we got. Right after that, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 7 review videos that I watched. Now, I spent 8. I watched every one of these between now and then, trying to learn everything I could about these. I think Will Ford did the best job, like he usually does. I think the biggest thing to learn from Will was it's not ready to be a throttle. It's not ready to be a clutch. There's core issues with that. Mainly the pedal rebound is the problem. And hopefully they can fix that in the future with firmware or software. But as a brake, it's within 10% of providing what the SemiCube Active Pedal Pro provides, he says. So everything that pedal provides you for functionality and function, this does it to the same degree, up to roughly a 90% level.
as I shared with you in the chat, my biggest concern with this is the mounting issues, and I am not happy with the options that they give you for some sort of thin extension plate to add to a heavy base plate that's going to have flex and everything else. It's just that there was no forethought into this when you're going to design the mounting brackets, and you're not going to have them set at 40 millimeters, which is traditional for anybody who's using this is going to be mounted onto an 80/20 rig. Why wouldn't you take the time to make sure the spacing is right to where it can be mounted properly? That's my biggest thing. And the biggest complaint with the SemiCube was the size, and this is not much smaller. I think, Mike, you had in your head this is going to be such a smaller footprint, because when you saw it, you see these still pictures of it. It's like, oh, that looks great. And when I started watching the first video and Will Ford picked this thing up, I went, oh my gosh, that's big.
15 inches long. Yeah.
How long until the aftermarket starts making plates that let it to attach it properly?
Well, look, in some of these videos, you can see the flex, to Brad's point, even with the extension plate. You can see flex, okay? What kind of successful pedal plate has flex in it, okay? So that's, to Brad's point, that is definitely a miss. The second miss is the spacing of the holes, like you said, are non-traditional. It's going to have to be a custom mount. The third thing that somebody pointed out was the back two holes are basically almost impossible to reach with a tool because they're right underneath the unit and you can't really get a screw on there. They should have moved them out or flanged them out a little bit so it'd be easy to reach. But yeah, so that's a downside for sure. Look, the stem pit, Sean Cole, he had a glowing review of it. And then you had a Gamer Muscle, and this is a quote I wrote down from his video, and he's basically talking about me, I think, when he wrote this. But here's what he said, quote, budget pedals will let you sim race totally fine, but if you're an idiot like me and you like fancy simming equipment and you like features, you like messing around with stuff, and you like having more information from the sim, you've wasted your life sim racing too much. This sort of stuff is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely amazing. And that's why I bought this today. So I spent $935 with shipping and tax. I didn't buy the base plate or anything. My plan is to replace the brake on my current Simpson pedals, and I will have to, jimmy rig something up for those back holes. I had one reviewer video showed he just mounted the front two holes only and just didn't even mount the back two holes. So I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I bought it. I'm going to figure it out. I was going to wait because we had a friend in Discord, KR, who bought one, who also has Simpson pedals. And I was going to wait for him to figure out how he was going to mount them. But then I started thinking about Donald Trump and tariffs, and April 2nd is coming. These might be 20% higher after April 2nd because of the tariffs. And so I went ahead and placed my order, and I'm super happy about it.
Where is Moza coming out of?
I don't, they have a U.S. website. And one thing I noted is I did a mock shopping cart on their website 2 or 3 times because I wasn't sure if I was going to do the plate or the clutch and all this. And every time I did it, it gave me a different shipping amount. First time was almost $200. The second time was like $100. And then this time when I actually bought it, it was only $60. So I have no idea how the shipping changes every time you try to look at the product. But to be honest, Greg, I don't know. I assume it's Hong Kong.
Okay. Because it's weird because we... you guys have the micro centers down there in the States. We have a version here. It's called Canada Computers. It's basically the same type of thing, but Moza's actually offered in that store there, in our store too.
I checked everywhere to see if anyone else had it. I checked what's called Sim Motion US. I checked Micro Center. Yes, they have. I checked Podium One. They have Moza products, all those places, but they don't have this.
So all you got was the brake pedal, but
that's it,
and it was $1,000.
Well, it's $800 plus tax plus shipping. I think tax was 60 something, and then 60 something for shipping.
Okay, because I thought weren't they doing wasn't it everything? Gas, brake, base, and everything for $1,000?
Yeah, so it was 800 for the pedal alone, 1,000 if you add the plate and a throttle with it, and then it was another 100 to add the clutch.
Well, I know, but I know how he is when it comes to aesthetics. He wants stuff to match.
That's true.
What did we say? You don't look at your pedals. They're always covered by your feet anyways.
But when you walk up to the rig, you look at your pedals.
Ugh.
I wonder if I may end up buying those later, though. It was a hard decision. Should I just get the pedal or get everything?
Does it cost more then if you're going to buy them all individually?
I don't know that, but I'm going to go with it. I am going to have to figure out something, as far as mounting, but I'll do it. I've been waiting on this. If you remember, I bought the Simpson pedals last summer, like in June or May. I think it was May or June. And the whole plan, the whole time was I'm going to buy these cheap ass pedals and wait for the Moza active brake. And so here it is. Today's the day.
Well, you think about it, you can order a full set of sim coaches for $1,600. So really, you're kind of walking out with a good deal.
Well, I think the beauty of the active pedal is it's next gen. I don't have to get up out of my seat to soften the brake, to make the brake harder. To go from a Legends car brake to a Formula One brake, I just push a button. That's what's next gen about it. Because if you do that on your current pedal set, what do you have to do? Oh, you got to change springs, you got to change rubbers. It's an ordeal. You got to use tools. All right, let's jump to results.
You don't want to cover that one other thing that the shifter with Moza, or no?
Well, I guess let's talk about it briefly.
Because I'm excited about this one.
So tell us about it, Greg. It's basically a H pattern, sequential, handbrake, and flight stick.
I think it was originally developed as a flight stick, which now they've created software to turn it into an H pattern sequential shifter. From what I got from some of the reviews and influencers out there that were talking about it, but I just thought it was kind of cool where it's gonna give you it kind of doesn't work with a lot of the stuff we use in iRacing because there's not many H patterns left besides older versions of cup cars and things like that and some of the sports cars, but to have the actual feel of like the gate and the feel of maybe like the going into a gear, I kind of would want to, that would be the one last immersion thing that you can add to your rig. That it's kind of an untapped market right now. I know there's some out there that are really expensive for that, or that give you the gear feel, isn't there, Mike?
Yeah, this one supposedly has force feedback as well. For the first time in a shifter. And look, for me, if I was buying a shifter, I'd be looking at this because I also am thinking about getting into flight equipment as well. And for something that can double as a shifter and a flight sim device, I think really, really helps that. Because the hardest thing about switching from sim racing to flight is the equipment. And how do you bring that equipment in without having to get out tools and all that kind of thing? To have this thing, permanently mounted and it works for both sim racing and flight, I think is a no-brainer.
So,
go ahead, Brad.
Here's my only issue with it being a force feedback. Is there any game that is actually gonna deliver the telemetry to a?
That's what I was wondering too, Brad. I was wondering
for a missed, a missed shift.
You get the sound, you don't get the feel.
But the missed shift is not, that's my. I just don't see the benefit in that. I really don't. And the thing is huge. It
is big.
It is big.
It's like the big Fanatec one, though, right?
It's bigger than the Fanatec.
It's long. It's a longer version. I think it's probably the same height, Brad, but I think it's long. Like it's more of a.
It's like 1.5 times the length of it.
It's girthier.
It is definitely girthier.
But it's I was just wondering, because I was thinking that on the software side, I'm like, does iRacing model a missed gear in any telemetry feedback? Like, is there an actual parameter that goes out? Hey, this was a missed gear shift. This is what it should feel like, and it's sending it somewhere. Is that actually sending it out, or is it just the sound of a grinding gear?
Well, I mean, I know you can like take the 87s. I mean, you can miss a gear. It's just if you do, I don't know if it's just a timing between clutch and shift or whatever. I mean, in the real world, that's what it would be. It's just I don't see where, I don't know how you from a telemetry aspect, how do you get that out of into the shifter? I mean, I understand the bazookas and stuff like that. That's a mechanical feel of when you're shifting. You're shifting. That's a mechanical issue there. I don't know.
This is where I'm hoping something like when we go to this expo, it's something you can try out, because this is something I want to buy, but is it something you could try out beforehand? Because this is definitely something I would want to know what it feels like before I purchased it.
All right, now we'll jump to results. Friday Open NIS Las Vegas. P26 started 24th, worked my way up to around 5th. I was good to go, but towards the end of the race, I had hit the wall too many times. That last run, I faded hard all the way back. Yikes. Chris, P6. The Red Waldron's Furniture iRacer Lounge Chevy Camaro proved its resilience today. Despite battling PC issues that left us starting from 32nd, we refused to back down. The car struggled to find its rhythm early on, but with determination and hard work from the premier setups crew, we made key adjustments. As a result, we climbed steadily through the field and crossed the finish line in 6th after a thrilling green-white checker finish. It was definitely a factor in helping us secure a strong finish. We also hit a career record of 3584 IR after this race. David Hall, P12, was the first caution, a car forced to 4 wide. I should have crowded him more, but had no way to know there was also 2 cars high. It just said 3 wide. Instead, came up just enough to get right hooked, not intentional by him or me. Only 13 seconds of damage. Next run was frustrating, but I think I just burned my stuff up, working way back up. Late caution with 25. I had worked my way up to 15th, loosened the car up, and was able to run hard for 12th at the end. Justin, P4. The old red, white, and blue iRacers Lounge podcast. Camaro had good top 5 speed. I wore this old girl out. I got my money's worth out of her tonight. I had a problem passing guys, just couldn't complete passes. As soon as they got on your right rear, they would drag you back. The last 10 laps, I took right front damage. Very lucky to come out P4. Tony, P22, had a fast car again, but dumbass mistake of overcooking my pit entry on a green flag stop and having a caution fly on the pit road. Just couldn't make my lap back up. Brad, P14.
Yeah, P14. Started P20. Had a really good long run car, but the race just didn't play out that way. Had made some adjustments, and the car was good on the long run, but we ended up with if I remember correctly, we had a yellow come out in the middle of green flag stops, and got trapped a lap down. Ended up having to take the wave around, and I think we ran about 20 laps. Ended up with another yellow. Pitted for tires. I did not make the adjustments for the short run, but I screwed it up. It was the driver that screwed it up. I mean, the sets were perfect from Premier all week, super fast, and I think I was in 3rd on the restart, and ended up getting crowded. Lost a couple spots, and with no clean air, just I couldn't drive back up through, and then I just burned the tires up, just running too hard.
All right, Saturday fixed NIS. Tom Dreiling, P5, ran up front most of the race with pit stops, got front end damage, and just beastable to get to the top spot. Happy to run up front. Sunday Open, David, P14, not a NIS week unless I get caught in someone else's mess. Wreck in front, everyone piles in and hooks me when I get checked up. Got back to 12th, and then a car drives down the left side of pit lane and gets beside me when I turn to pit. P14. So according to some genius among the iRacing stewards, it's okay to drive on the inside line of the pit lane the whole time. So from now on, I'm driving down the inside lane when pitting. Look, I told David when this happened, we had a little discussion about it, but I told him it's on him. I mean, look, if you let the guy get to your inside on the pit road and you try to turn down and you turn across his nose, that's on you. Don't let him get to your inside by going slow enough. But Greg, I think you said, oh, they'll just dive bomb it in there anyway.
Well, I've come to realize and this is through David's many, many years of protests and different things he's gone through. If I know anything about iRacing, they run their rule book just like NASCAR does. They make the rules up as they go along, even though they could be written in the rule book. It says it is in the rules not to go down you drive through pit stalls. And then when you blatantly see, I was in that same race with David when it happened, and I don't know. It's sometimes you just got to let things go and just live to race another day.
All right, and then we have Tony Rochette with a P9. After what was a fever dream race, all I remember is being doored, wrecked, and ass ramming a wrecked car on the front stretch and being at 16x for the last 100 laps. Sunday fixed NIS. I ran a DNF. I got totally destroyed early in the race in the first caution. Some guy goes under me, taking us 3 wide. He can't hold his lane and wipes us out. I think I finished dead last. Moving on to Homestead, Wednesday Open. P16 got involved in the first caution, lost some track position. Never really made it up. 20th to 25th, most of the race, got another wreck. I had a little bit of damage. I got that fixed, but some late carnage. I was able to get my way up into the top 20 to finish P16. David Hall, DNF, got loose, got stuck back with the idiots, got turned, and then a car running in the back ARCA brakes and torpedoes me. Kyle, P24.
Yeah, the car was good. Setup was actually, I was very surprised at how well the setup was. I, on the other hand, was garbage. I ran too hard starting out and just burned up what I had on tires. Fell back to I don't know, almost the 30th pretty much, and got lucky by a few cautions. On one restart, I ended up ass packing a guy pretty bad and got front nose damage. Got that fixed. Car was back to normal, and it was just hold on for dear life till the end, really. I should have done better, but we came to the last restart, and some idiot decides he wants to retaliate somebody else in front of us, spins them out, and a bunch of people get collected, and everything's a big mess coming to the start, and everybody, well, I think there was like 4 or 5 of us that got black flags for passing under yellow, so that ruined my entire race from going from a top 15 to finishing 24th. But I do want to say one more thing before I call it. Actually, I'll say our final thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, I got to say, I was in that race with you, Kyle, and that was the most blatant takedown I've ever seen. Like, we're coming to the green, we're double file, we're approaching the restart zone, and the guy just goes to the car in front of him, goes up alongside of him, and then turns left into that, right rear, and just spins the guy out, and just assumes his spot and, starts the race. Like, what is the guy thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. That whole last restart was all messed up. One guy up there who was laps down and just angry about it was completely out of line, and that forced the 7 car who ended up turning the other guy. He's down in my lane. He's on the inside line, and I'm like, what is going on? But yeah, that was it was two people being stupid.
Okay, Brad, you got a P6.
Yeah, so fantastic run. Car was it was so good on long run. Was able to drive up to P2 and then kind of stayed there, got a nice distance. Ran a little bit hard at the beginning of that run, and that kind of got me towards the end. Was just a little bit too tight. So it looked like we were going to, this just like the previous week at Vegas, looked like it was going to run, green flag stop at the end. So as usual, I decided like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and basically split it in half, 50 to go, come in and pit. And then within 2 laps, of course, we get a yellow. I think I know who brought that yellow out. But
I almost hit the barrels actually, but I didn't.
I know.
Almost Larsoned it.
Yeah, but so ended up having to take the wave around, restarted P17, had to drive really hard to try to gain any spots, and that just I burned up the tires. I mean, it's just what it was. You run 6 or 7 super hard laps, and you got so much heat in them, they just can't do anything. but was running P5 coming to the white flag, and just to give a shout out to Drew Brees. So we raced side by side for 2 laps. He ended up getting me coming to the line, but super clean racing. I appreciate that. Neither one of us, I don't think either of us was afraid of getting into each other. So very respectful. Premier setups. Racing setups again, super great set, and the guy that won the race led 131 of the 134 laps, and he was running Premier setups as well. So if you need setups, Premier setups is the way to go.
Look, Brad, it was real refreshing to see you running third and keeping with the leaders there for the first time, really this year. I mean, you were having a good run.
Yeah. I think I mentioned. I mean, I've scored more points at Vegas and Homestead than I did the first 4 races all combined. So trying to dig out of the hole that I'm in currently in NIS.
All right, Bobby ran. We don't have his result, but we have Tom Dreiling, P19. One of the worst races I've personally done. I got Red Mist. Ooh, title idea, Red Mist. After slightly getting into another driver, and as I came up to save my car, it looks like I blocked him. Some words were said to me, and I crashed us both. Ooh, I'm very disappointed in myself. I didn't get on the radio or chat because I didn't want to get a ban. My car was torn up, and I could only get to that position. Again, I am deeply disappointed in myself. I am sorry for everyone involved. If anyone is listening who was in that split, I am sorry. Some humble pie there, huh? Thursday Open, I ran P12. Ran usually between 10th to 20th most of the race. Pretty much just stayed out of trouble this time. That last restart, I was 19th, got my way up to finish P12. David, P10, had a top 5 car on that last run. A car dive bombs me and fails to make the apex and stays up in lane 3, crowding me out, forcing me into the wall. Says he doesn't have to go to the bottom if he dive bombs. I disagree. I will treat him with the respect he deserves. So it sounds like somebody got a red car. David colors all his enemies red in paint. So other racing B Open, Brad, P20.
Actually, that should be A Open. I'll move that. But so decided to run just a Homestead race Tuesday night just to get a little bit of practice. Really, really weird. The car was fantastic in qualifying. I mean, in practice, but I get into the race and I started. I think I qualified 4th and get down the backstretch. Everything's fine. Roll into turn 3, and the car is just wrecking loose. And it was like that the entire race. Weather was, I guess, was different. I had posted in the chat. I mean, it was like foggy. I mean, at 3:30 in the afternoon at Homestead, it was like fog. So it was just bizarre. I threw air pressure adjustments, spring adjustments at it. I could never get the car comfortable. I think I told the guys last night. I mean, I started 4th, and within the first 15 laps, I think I was running like 27th or something. I was kind of lucky to finish 20th, but I was really nervous about last night going to the NIS, and just it's like night and day. It's completely different. So really don't know what happened that race. Just a super odd one.
All right, Grassroots Racing League, William, P11.
Yep. Again, the only race I got to do this week, something I've been working on at work is finished, so hopefully I'll get to get back on the sim a lot more. But P11, which is terrible because Sebring is one of my favorite tracks. Really, I was running top 4 about midway through the race, and my screen just froze. I don't know what happened, but it froze. I came back, I'm in the wall. So nothing you can do. It's just really disappointing. Middle of 90-minute race, and that happened. So always next week.
Okay. Majors, David.
Let me jump in here real quick. I forgot to put mine in here.
Sure.
So David, Tom, and I ran this. They were in second split. I was in top split. Qualified 37th, and I knew it was going to be a struggle. But ended up ran pretty clean race. Did have contact with one guy. Ended up with a 10-second drive through. That's where I said earlier. The times where we think we're not at fault, and we are. I was ticked off as could be, and going to protest it and or appeal it and everything. And then went back and looked at the replay, and I was wrong. But ended up finishing, I think, 19th. So kind of disappointing, but when you're racing in there with Christian Challoner and you got guys that are the 5,000-6,000 IR on the roadside, I guess I'll be happy walking away, starting 37th and finishing, I think, 19th. So.
All right. And then David put P11, started 28th, ran clean, stayed out of trouble, had a long run speed and consistency. A few small mistakes probably cost my chance at the top 10, including forgetting to turn my lights on and having the tracking warning pop up in the middle of the screen. Had to hit my button that's on the rig, but gave away some time. Dreiling in the race 1 Bathurst 2 hours started 42nd top split of the international region. Just worked steady and finished 28th without any major issues. Race 2 Spa 2 hours started 34th in top split of the European. A big crash at Radian hurt a few cars that had to use their fast repair. I was able to pick a few spots up and hold on to them, finish 19th. Next was race 3, Road America 2 hours, started 20th in second split of Americas. After a few laps, I felt more comfortable than any other races. I'd lost it in the kink and destroyed my car. Had to pit, came back out in 33rd. Had a fast car in the split, worked my way up to finish 15th. Probably could have had a top 5 without my mistake. Looking forward to the next majors race on April 5 and 6. Coke 600 and the Gen 4 Cup car.
So Tom is going for the Ironman Award this year. So he's running all 3 series in the majors. So just insane what he's doing. Absolutely insane.
Good luck with that, right? Other racing I ran Gen 5 at Talladega, wrecked out. Then the BMWs at the Nordschleife in the rain, I finished P2 after towing. P2 in class. Second attempt, it was raining harder, and I wrecked right away in turn 2. Then it was 13th week funny forecast at the Nürburgring Nordschleife in the BMW M2. Guess what? Winner, chicken dinner. I had a great class win and finished 3rd overall, keeping it on the track pretty much the whole time. Heavy rain. Super proud of winning in the BMW at the Nordschleife in the rain. It's like a super unlock, It's like one of those challenges you should get a special award for. The track being so big and long and the rain, and yeah, I was just stoked. I did try it the next day. I wrecked out right at the beginning, so I don't know how I got that win. Then I tried the Matt Malone MX5 Cup at the Okayama, qualified 13th, finished 19th. Then the BMWs at the Oschersleben, qualified 5th, finished 4th, and then FIA F4 at Sebring had a pretty good run going up to 7th, but then got wrecked out with 2 to go, racing with a guy. All right, final thoughts, Greg Hector.
Just looking forward to making. Hopefully, I can try and do 2 starts at Homestead this week, but we'll see. If anything, I'll get Sunday morning in. Kind of looking forward to that track. I've been trying something new here. I've been using the AI and the way that the screen is, so that when you can now have the option to run the AI with straight from the racing conditions after either trying to connect to a race or trying to connect to a practice. You can just set up an AI that way. I'm kind of liking that new feature, so I've been trying to do that to get acclimatized to setups and see how the thing runs on long runs and try and simulate a full race. Working my way on some stuff because I feel like I've fallen a little bit behind on certain things especially in the Cup car. But yeah, just getting my 1 or 2 races in a week. It's been pretty busy here right now.
I'm missing the AI auto adjust thing they promised that didn't come out, because I can never dial in the strength of the AI just right. Brad Wren, final thought.
Yeah, it's Sebring week, so looking forward to Saturday. Excited to run with William and with the Jacob.
Yep.
Yep. So don't know Jacob, but looking forward to that. I love Sebring. I did not get to run this race last year. We were out of town. It's super unique. It's a challenge. Watched the real race last weekend and was just. I think it's probably the ultimate test of endurance, as bumpy and as crazy as that place is. So excited for that. Trying to figure out this iPredictor website. I'm still trying to kind of. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I don't know. 12-hour race and GT3s are pretty easy. Just figured out a schedule. It's almost each stint's roughly 55 to 58 minutes, so it's pretty easy. But yeah, I'm excited. William and I have raced against each other, and excited to be on team. So yeah, this is I love the endurance races, and yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend.
All right, Kyle Pendergraft, final thought.
I want to start out by saying a big shout out to Lawrence and his team over there at Sim Coaches. I sent my pedal off to get repaired, and I tell you what, they knocked it out of the park. They did a little bit of upgrades to it. They replaced a few things that were wrong with it that have A, worn out over time, and B, were just a faulty part after a couple months. But regardless, they did a great job. They got it back to me. It works flawlessly. So big shout out to Lawrence and them. Also looking forward to Saturday as well for the 12-hour endurance race at Sebring. Not too confident in how I'm going to do. Haven't been too well doing a lot of practice, but getting better.
All right, William, and your final thought?
Yeah, so I don't think I've done an official race since like March 4th. So I'm looking forward to getting back in the sim and getting a lot more done. And like Brad said, looking forward to 12-hour on Saturday. I think I'm starting the car, so hope I can keep it in one piece and hand it off to Brad in a good spot.
All right, my final thoughts. Yeah, I've been spending money, but I've been saving money I haven't bought anything for this sim since last summer. So I got the Stream Deck this week, kind of on a whim, and then I bought the new Moza Active Brake. And so next challenge will be how to mount that baby. It's going to be several weeks, I would guess, before I actually get the unit. But yeah, if anyone has ideas, let me know. But I'm probably going to have to buy some more profile or something. But looking forward to it. And with that, hey, we'll see you on the track later. All right, title ideas. We got 5.